networks with specific areas of influence that they want to work with and getting grants and other funding to be able to really make that positive impact. So if you have any interest in that, let me know. And also, I would like to know, okay, put it in the chat. Also, before I forget, because I typically ramble. No, you couldn't believe I ramble. Yeah, I do, I ramble. But all of the women on this group, I can't say for sure, but I would say you all pretty much qualify to be speakers at the UN Women's Day, which is coming up in March, and that would be from March 10th to the 21st, and we're running a parallel event for that to have speakers along that week that you would be on an evergreen type of a thing and constantly be seen. There's all kinds of wonderful things that go with that. If you're interested in being a speaker for that, put it in the chat. Just say UN Women's Day, and I'll get in touch with you to be able to do that. At this point, we're not accepting guys. Sorry, that's kind of the way it is on this one. I'm sure that we'll feel all kinds of things from you anyhow. So, all right, without any more interruptions.
And we are recording.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good timing. Thank you. Appreciate that. I don't know why never mind. We are going to have our speakers, and we have two wonderful speakers with two perspectives, but they make a heck of a lot of sense in that it's all about understanding who you work with to a level that you can really not only assess where they're coming from and why they're doing what they're doing, but you'll know how to communicate with them. And so we have Julie first off with her look at, now she's a very versatile woman. She does a lot of marketing so that you can look at your target audience and understand specifically through what we call the bank way of looking at things and their characteristics, and then how to express your own self based on that so that your target audience understands what it is that you want, you can give them, and what the results will be. So I'm not going to go in and wallow any more about talking about Julie. I'm going to let her tell us a little bit more about Julie and specifically how the bank, which has nothing to do with finances other than knowing other people and being able to assess where they're going and you're going to make profit. I suppose you could look at it that way. Go ahead, Julie, before I mess this up totally.
I was going to say, you're on a roll. You could keep going. That was a great introduction. I'm assuming I'll have access to sharing my screen as well.
Well, we hope so. As far as we know, you will. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, you do.
Perfect.
Thank you, Carol.
Beautiful. Let me just pull this up. Sure that everyone, and that's what I like to do. I really like to help business owners and organizations really relay their message and spread their message so that they can get as much audience to what they're promoting, right? To whatever the cause might be. Before I started in my marketing business, I did 20 years in sales and marketing, in operations, excuse me. And I also became a certified bank iOS coach. So as Jackie mentioned, bank is a sales methodology. It was based off, grown on sales, excuse me, but it's based on personality science. And it has been scientifically proven that it can identify buying behavior in 90 seconds or less. Now, when I say buying behavior, you can incorporate this to anything that you're doing, right? It's basically your yes, or your decision making. So people make decisions based off of what they value. And I'll go more into the details of that in a little bit. So I am a single mom. My son is now 20 years old. He just graduated from college from Full Sail University in Orlando as a game designer. So I'm very excited for the next chapter of his life and getting into the working world. It's a little soon to be adulting, but we're working our way into that. I also have a bachelor's in geology, a minor in anthropology, so I have studied world and global impact on the environmental level. I also speak French. I'm originally from Canada, and I speak a little Spanish as well, and I'm a classical pianist, and a self-trained mechanic. A little versatile, as Jackie said. So today we're going to be talking about the challenge of communicating. So we all communicate based off of the way we want to be communicated with. So if you incorporate and you tap into emotional intelligence, you can learn how to communicate with different people on the level that they expect to be communicated with. So imagine speaking different languages. If you walk into a room and you have foreign speakers in the room all over the world, and you only speak English, well, you can only tap into that percentage of the speakers, right? The rest of them are not going to have any idea of what you're talking about. If you can then speak English and Spanish, now you're tapping into a little bit more of the room. And if you can speak all the languages into the room, then obviously then you are able to make that impact that much more in order to really reach and get through to the people that are in the room. So this works on a one-to-one level. This works on a marketing level, which is how we apply it, so that when you can broadcast your message out into the world and you can make sure that everyone aligns with what you're saying. So many of the things that happen is the communication level, like I said, is based off of the one type. So if you really learn how to communicate with those different types, then you can get that much further and you can build stronger relationships in your different organizations. So the bank methodology is the tool in order to do that, to help you communicate more effectively. So it is personality-based, people-centered, profit-focused, and purpose-driven. Like I said, it was created based off of the sales methodology, but it also applies to relationships and communication as a whole. Communication, right there. So I will share a little bit of each different personality type. There are many personality systems that have been around for many years. What to keep in mind as I go through each type is that we are not just one personality type. We're a combination of them, right? And based off of what you value, you bring different types forward at different moments. Okay, so the first one I'm going to cover is blueprint. So the blueprint personality type values stability, structure, systems, planning, processes, predictability, responsibility, duty, rules, credentials, titles, and tradition. Mm-hmm. So people that are typically a blueprint personality will have jobs like an accountant, police officers, people that are in positions of that allows them to conform by the rules, right? So they're very strict on the structure. They want a schedule. They want a plan. They want to have all of this information to them before they make any decisions. And again, this is for buying. This is for any type of influence that you could do. So their core values are order, structure, responsibility, and stability. So when you communicate with a blueprint person, you're going to communicate with formality, right? You want to respect the hierarchy and the attention to detail. So you want to approach them in a formal way. If you were to meet a blueprint in person, it would be a handshake, right? They have because of their very strict view on rules and structure, they resist change. So if you're approaching them about something outside of their comfort zone, you want to make sure that you approach it in a step-by-step process. You give them a plan, right? So, and you also want to be calm when you communicate with them. And if you can provide an agenda ahead of time, that will help them stay structured. That would help them understand the next steps. So in business, if you're working with a blueprint type, you'll often get asked, what's the next step, right? Instead of just jumping on board and saying, sign me up, they'll ask you what the process is and what it looks like so that they get the full picture. Some of the keys to success for communicating with blueprints is respect the schedule. If you set a meeting with someone, make sure you're early. For a blueprint personality, if you're 15 minutes early, you are on time. If you show up on time, or what some of us consider on time, you would be considered late. So just make sure you're aware of who you're communicating with, because something as you could have a major opportunity to share with a blueprint, and they might be your perfect candidate for that opportunity. But if you show up late, you could have lost them before you even had a chance to explain what it is that you're promoting. So yeah, always respect that schedule and provide that detailed agenda as much as possible, and try not to be too emotional in your communications. When you're building a relationship with a blueprint, you want to make sure that you stay respectful and you have clear boundaries of that relationship. Remember, I just mentioned you don't want to be too emotional in communication. Same thing goes when you're building that relationship. The way they handle change, they want to focus on what they can control, and what they can't control, they want to create systems for it, systems and processes. So as much of that as you can relate to them, the better it's going to be to help get your message across. And make sure that instructions are clear and don't leave any room for that interpretation. Some of the pitfalls, so some of the ways that you can lose a blueprint in your influence would be if you overlook the details. If you speak too much of the large picture and you don't explain those step by step, you could lose their interest. So again, keep communication professional, familiar language, and keep that going. So the next personality type is actions. The actions you think like outside the box, right? They're going to be, values are freedom, flexibility, spontaneity, action, opportunity, excitement, attention, stimulation, competition, winning, fun, and image. So an action person are typically celebrities, salespeople, entrepreneurs, people that are wanting to make a change and they want to step out of the norm from everyone else. If you look at Blueprint, they're like the opposite of Blueprint. They don't want the structure. They don't want the processes and the systems. They want the freedom. They want the flexibility. They're very competitive. So many athletes, many athletes are very action driven. So their core values, again, freedom, excitement, success, and power. So they prioritize how successful and influential someone looks, right? So if you're meeting with an action person, you want to make sure that you put some effort into the way that you show up. So you want to have your outfit put together. You never want to meet with an action and be in like your sweats, right? You'll turn off the person. You want to make sure that they're very big on brands as well. So if you can look the part, then you will have better connection with them from the beginning. They thrive on change, right? They don't want to stay the same. They want to make sure that everything is new and innovative, and they want the VIP treatment. So if you want to work with an action type, you want to make sure that they feel like they're celebrated, right? Like you're paying attention to them, you're engaging with them, you're supporting what they're promoting as well, even if you want them to promote and support what you're working. So when you communicate with them, you want to make it short, impactful, and direct. Make it exciting. You don't want to get lost in the details. You want to make it energetic. Lots of exclamation marks if it's a written communication. If it's in person, be prepared to show a lot of excitement with your hands or even body movements. When you're meeting an action, mentioned blueprints or a handshake, an action would be like a high five, right? So keys to success with them. So quickly address the opportunities. Get straight to the point. If you get too many details, you're going to lose them. So you want to make sure that you make it exciting and fun and give them a reason to get involved into whatever you're promoting. So when you build a relationship with an action, they want to feel like they're in control, influential, and in the spotlight. Again, so make sure that you're supporting and promoting them as well. Compliment them on how they look, what they're working on, all of that. The way that they handle change, you just want to find ways to engage and make it challenging for them, right? So they love that competition. So make it fun. The common pitfalls, you underestimate the depth. So you don't want to go too many details, but you also want to share with them the purpose of what you're doing. I'm going to skip through a few things here.
Yeah, you have a couple minutes.
Okay. So nurturers, they value relationships, authenticity, personal growth, significance, teamwork, involvement, community, charity, ethics, harmony, morality, and contribution. Many nurturers are social workers, nonprofit workers. You have nurses, doctors, coaches. People in that field are typically nurturers. So their core values are those relationships, support, emotional connection. You always want to communicate with them warm, friendly, sincere. If they will see a sales pitch a mile away, so make sure that you're genuine and authentic with your communication. They want to know that you care about them. So focus on building that trust, that rapport, have empathy in your communication. Make sure that they truly feel seen, and they will be more likely to promote or engage with your communication. For building a relationship with them, again, just they want to feel like they belong, part of the community. They want to feel part of the community. So provide support, acknowledge their emotional aspects when it comes to change. Make sure they always feel validated. You don't want to overload them with too many things. You want to make sure that they see that you care about them. The last personality type is knowledge. So knowledge, value learning, intelligence, logic, self-mastery, technology, research and development, science, universal truths, expertise, competence, accuracy, and the big picture. So a knowledge person are typically the engineers, the researchers, the educators, right? They want to know the picture and they're able to teach it as well. So their core values are that competence, the knowledge, and the logic. If what you're communicating with them does not make logical sense, you will lose them. They're also big on doing their own research. So if you've ever worked with someone that said, hey, I need to look into this further and I'll get back to you, that's not a invitation for you to pursue them further. Give them space. Give them space to do the research that they need. They will come back to you with the questions that they need to make that decision. And if you're able to provide the facts and make logical sense, they will agree and they will help you support with what you're doing. Evidence-based solutions are the best. Expertise and data. So if you're able to cite resources, even provide them additional resources that they could follow up on, that will help your cause even more. So they're always very analytical in their decision making. Just keep them informed if there's any changes coming their way, right? Provide the data. Don't go with vague answers. Again, you'll lose them. And you don't want to come at them with emotional. Very similar to Blueprint, you want to keep it formal. You want to keep it direct and information to what you're talking about. And anything that's not clear, they will either ask a question or you might lose them. So make sure you know your information before you communicate with the knowledge. So
Okay,
in
wrap it up,
summary,
please.
perfect timing. In summary, the way you tailor your communications for each of those personality types, blueprints, you're going to keep it structured, formal, clear. Actions, exciting, direct, make it opportunity driven. Nurturers is warm, empathetic. Knowledge is going to be data driven and clear. And the more you learn to communicate effectively, the better we all will be, and your relationships will be. And as we all know, great business, great opportunities are built off of relationships that you build. If any of you are interested in finding out what your personality code is, you can scan the QR code on the screen right now, and that'll take you to my link. Your information is not given anywhere else, and you'll able to sort 4 cards digitally. You sort them in the order of what you find values most, and then you'll get your code and you'll get a report that describes exactly how you make decisions.
Beautiful. Okay, thank you so much. There's so much to consider when you're talking about the bank and talking to other people, and each of you could give your own little dissertation about your own personality first, but it's reading others before you even start. And a lot of times, as Julie said, you can hear by their values of what they say, but also their mannerisms. There are all other kinds of things that play into, instead of just the bank, it's the way that they present themselves to you, how fast, how slow, how they walk. There are all kinds of things that play into that. So as we look at that and the people that we communicate with, I look at this entire group on the screen here of various backgrounds, of various countries. However, the one thing that I know that probably 99% of you are involved with is creating peace. Very simple thought, not necessarily the easiest thing to do. So, Julie, thank you so much for your talk, and we'll hopefully have some time after we get through. Michael, are you there?
I am here.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, I won't go into all the wonderful things that Michael's going to bring us about peace. However, Carol, I want to be sure you're present, because this is another kingpin that's going to be working in all parts of Africa and other countries as well, and I am so excited to join with Michael again, Dr. Michael McGill, to be able to bring I guess it was about 7 years ago when we started playing together in different countries, to bring it to the front, because now is the time.
I'm here.
Good, Carol. I knew you would be. And to literally put your thoughts to action. And so often we don't know. Well, it starts with me. Of course it starts with you. However, how do you make that work, Michael? Huh?
Okay, I'm going to start my clock. I've got 10 minutes.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so
thank
I'm
you.
just
I
going to
appreciate
take
that.
about, maybe hopefully 7, 8, so that I have at least a couple minutes for Q&A.
Yeah, and your event that's coming up too, don't forget it. We are going to be able to do that, by the way. So.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, great. Then I assume we can advertise that to the group even after the meeting as well with the appropriate.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay, yeah, my name is Dr. Michael McGill. I am the founding director of Young Peace Builders, and we are devoted to empowering children and youth in change making around the world. Now, how did I get started in this? So it was actually over 25 years ago. I started off addressing child sexual exploitation and trafficking, and I ended up was really looking for places where the situation was the worst. So some places like Burma, Uganda, Sri Lanka, and places that were impacted by both poverty and conflict. And I discovered that the systems that are typically developed to protect children are often decimated within these contexts. Right. And so kids are not only exploited sexually, but in all other sorts of ways. Child soldiers and domestic servants, and they also don't get the health care they need. So neglected tropical diseases thrive. And as many of you know, with the topic of literacy, education is a challenge in these impoverished and conflicted contexts. So I've got a background as a child psychologist, and I know that you have a unique opportunity with children, that their plasticity is just so great. And I discovered that almost all wars, as of recent, have occurred in places with extremely young populations, like many of them over half their population children, and like under 18 years of age. Like Afghanistan, 55% kids. Uganda was actually Afghanistan 52, Uganda 55, Congo about 50% kids. And so often these are cycles of violence that just go on and on, which makes sense. If violence is modeled as the default response to conflict, those are the tools that young people are given to deal with the conflicts they face in their lives. And if they're not given other tools, it's unusual for people to just come up with new ways of dealing with things that have been modeled with them in a different way. So my thought was, man, one of the best ways to prevent and break these cycles of violence and build cycles of peace, and I see peace in a very holistic, comprehensive way, not just armed violence. We have a great opportunity in actually engaging young people in change making, giving them some different tools. So I learned that there was almost no research on this topic, and so I ended up getting my PhD focused on how to engage children and youth in peace building. And then I really believe in leveraging existing infrastructure, of working with people who are in context, have the close relationships, know, really locally what's going on there, who to trust, and working with and through the good work that they've already done there. So I began looking for one of the best models that was both transferable and scalable, and ended up identifying this club-based model that is basically small groups of young people that will meet together regularly. They identify problems, identify solutions, implement, evaluate, and improve. So it's different than typical programs in that it's not just an education to kids, but it's actually working with them to bring about the change that you hope to see in the community. And it's something that's important to them, that they really value. Now, so how have we done this? So we first of all piloted this in a number of different countries around the world. From Uganda to Liberia to USA, and a number of places. Improved the model, developed the training tools, materials, handbooks, videos, evaluation tools to be able to support other organizations. And then we put it into a platform online so that organizations can just sign up and have all of these resources to be able to get going quickly. Now, what we find is so often there are organizations doing great work in a variety of different contexts. But there's two things. One, they sometimes struggle between making this shift between providing services to kids to actually working with young people to bring about the change. And so they've already got great connections with young people. They're already empowering young people or working or serving young people in churches or community centers or schools or other places. But they don't necessarily have the understanding of how to move toward working with the kids to bring about the change. The second thing is it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to develop really excellent training tools and methods and platforms and resources, and it's really costly and time consuming. So many organizations, they get started, they're running with good work, but they don't necessarily have the best tools and systems in place to be able to improve the quality and scale that. So that's what Young Peace Builders does. We have an amazing model, fantastic tools, and an excellent delivery system, and a coaching process for organizations to help them be able to scale their work with children and youth. So a lot of times this works through their work they're already doing in schools or churches or community centers, and already have gatherings of young people, but it helps them systematize and prove that. So we have a whole coaching process that goes along with that to help them kind of implement synergistically with what they're already doing, so that they don't have to say, oh, we're adding this whole new program, but rather it's improving the quality and the scale of the work that they're already doing. So it makes things easier, more cost effective to move more quickly to get better help to more kids. Now, what next? How would you find out more? So I will include a link again in here in the chat group, and I encourage you to just click on that. But that is like a free sample course, and it also includes a lot of information on how to raise funding for this type of work, example proposals, links to donors who give in this sector. And so I encourage you to sign up for that. And then if it looks like something that would be interesting to you, then please sign up for a call. The other thing that would be really helpful is if you think of other people in your network. Who in your network is already working with young people in this like 8 to 18-year age range. And it could be in the States, it could be in Afghanistan, it could be wherever they are. And they are already working in a significant number of locations with kids. So they have the opportunity to start, let's say, 10 or more clubs. If you have an organization that is starting 10 to 100, I mean, we've got some organizations that want to start, hundreds of clubs. That's the type of organization that we're looking with. And I know you guys are really want to help these smaller community-based organizations. That's great. When we've identified those organizations that have a little bit more capacity, they're able to better support and identify those local organizations and share the tools and process with them. So let's see. After you sign up for that free course, if it looks interesting, book a call or have the organization that you feel like would be a good fit, have them book a call, and then we'll see what comes from there. Any questions?
Yeah, Anise.
I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Clearly.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Great. Well, that's fabulous. First of all, I put a name in the chat for you to connect with Kate Broughton. Michael, she is working with Montessori globally, internationally at the enterprise level of how they're using and incorporating AI. So I think that she might be a fabulous connection for you. And then I think Jackie has put the information in for me. My organization, I would very much like to tiptoe into your direction. So I think I can do that with what Jacqueline has put in the chat. Correct, Jackie?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
thank
please,
you. That's great.
Yeah, and
Love it.
On next Tuesday, an hour before we meet, Michael's going to give a 1 hour for those that are really interested in getting into it. Now, people like Derek, you'd be a great example of someone to look into this, as well as Nettie, wherever she is. She was here. Vivian, all of you people that have your little projects that they're big to you and they're big to us too. I'm just saying, this is a perfect way for you to find out about this. Now, the obvious is Carol.
Yes.
And I don't see her. The obvious is Carol, and the
I sent
obvious
him
is
info.
Abiola. And Abiola is working in every country in Africa to bring forth the policies from the youth through the experts to actually make it happen in that country. So do you suppose peace might have something to do with that? You think?
Yeah.
Obviously.
You
So
think?
Abiola, you need to get with Michael as well.
Yeah.
And those of you that are doing the coaching part of it, any part of what, and Anissa, I know that you'll just decide you want to, and Brenda too. All of this, all of the mental health types of people that are working, and Cynthia, I don't know you enough to know what to say about you, but those of you that are coaches, and peace is really what we're all wanting, and to have literally tools, that's the thing. We all go through, well, it starts with me. Yes, it does. How do I do that? I be a good person. Well, that's a start. But how about bringing others onto the scene with you, so that you can collaborate at a level to have more peace?
And I actually have a physical holistic product that is about dealing with the energetic components of the emotional body. It's proven very effective. I would love to connect with anybody who's working with young people because it will help with emotional regulation. It's 100% water. It's safe, it's powerful, it's natural, and it works super fast.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, you do. That's really cool. Abiola.
Global Forum on Youth Policies. Basically, what you do is policy advocacy, all the policies that support the growth of young people. And we work with state actors also to ensure that laws are implemented, that affects young people positively. So we do a policy approach to that by providing policy briefs to the legislators to consider for passing to law. So this can touch on the lives of the young people. So thank you very much, Michael. Thank you very much, Julie, also, for those beautiful presentations. And we're looking forward to working with all of you for your interest in Africa especially. Thank you very much.
Beautiful. Yeah, beautiful.
Jackie, I just want to make a quick note. Thank you for that, Abiola. You have these topics of literacy, wellness, environment, employment, and people might be thinking, well, that's not peace building. I'm not involved in peace building. I'm doing environmental work, or I'm doing other types of wellness work. The way that these groups are structured, you can challenge the kids in a particular topic area. Maybe it's even literacy as a barrier to peace within the community, or employment, or environmental needs. But it's giving them the freedom to figure out how are they going to solve that problem. And when they do that, the transformation that happens in a young person's life, from often feeling like a victim, powerless, to feeling like an empowered change maker, and seeing how they can identify things that are not right and bring about the change that they hope for. And it's also really powerful for their communities, the change that they bring, and the way it holds their community accountable, the adults accountable, as they see the young people really taking the lead.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well put, because they can go through any area. Carol, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So Michael, I run a program called YEA Youth Empowerment Program, and it's global. And I'm looking for something after our program ends. It's 10 weeks, and you're absolutely the answer. I just feel like you are the answer that I could send all of my students that graduate from the program into your arms, your very wonderful arms, because I want students to get that they can make a difference inside of peace. And I think it would be the perfect thing for what's next after they graduate from our program.
I'm so glad you brought up that example, because I find that is often the case. Organizations like yours, they're doing fantastic work. Maybe it's a mentorship program with young people.
Yes.
But the training comes to a completion. And I've actually done research for the UN, international NGOs on engaging kids in peace building and change making. And this is a consistent feedback that I received back from the young people themselves. This group got us all inspired through this project.
Yes.
Then it was done. Mm-hmm. And it's like they feel kind of left, or almost like
abandoned.
I mean, there's one group was saying, we come back and we're knocking on the door and they're not answering.
Yes.
And so this is the way to kind of go to build on the great work that you and others are already doing.
Absolutely. I will be in touch with you.
Okay, great.
Beautiful.
I do want to be clear, though, that we support the organizations that are working with the young people, as opposed to us trying to work with every one of these individual young people.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do that. We support the groups that say, hey, we're working with the young people. We have those connections, and we have training for the students themselves, for the mentors, the adult mentors that support them, and then also for the coordinators or project managers who would oversee 10 clubs, 20 clubs, and so forth. We've got training at each of those levels.
I'd love to pop in here, but we have Vivienne, who's got her hand raised before me.
I'm trying to get Vivian to. That's Vivian's next.
Yeah,
I know. That's what I was about to do. Vivian, unmute yours. Thank you. Just doing it in order.
Hey, Jackie. Hey, Michael. Hey,
good to see you.
Good
yes,
to see
wonderful
you. Happy New
to
Year.
see you. It's been forever.
You've been forever, for sure. Michael, you are doing an amazing job, and we would like to partner with you. Our focus is for young women and girls. We are a group of women. We do empowerment through entrepreneur work, but right now we are focusing on sexual and reproductive health and rights for young women, as well as education. So we are starting we have a group in Kenya, and that's our challenge for this year, is to focus on building resilience among the girls and young women. Most of them drop out of school because of early pregnancy, and that is because of poverty. So we want to help them to stay in school and also empower them with knowledge and other tools that can help them to stay focused for their education, so and different other things. So I'm looking forward to learn more about your program, Michael, and we are here to add value to each other.
Yeah.
I look forward to speaking with you.
Wonderful. Anise, did you have something else to say?
I do. You know, I always have something to say. Because I'm every one of the types that Julie outlined. I'm all of them.
B-A-N-K is who she is.
Yeah. So here's something I'd like to just share. I teach what I call quantum energy healing, but I do it in a very organized way. As you saw, I put in information about how these things align with the human energy field. And I teach that in a very precise way. Cynthia can testify to that. And I would love to connect with anybody who's working with the areas, the intersection of peace and youth, and how do we move forward from teaching children their energy fields. Like you put them in kindergarten, they get to know what the nose is, where it is, the hands, the feet, the toe, but the energy system is completely left out of the equation. And that is what is so damaging right now, is not understanding how your own energy system works. So I'm here. I got it. I got massive content information. It's all organized, and I would love to work with any of you who would like to just explore what the results that might bring. Also, I've been a peace worker. I started in teenage. I walked from Philadelphia to Washington to against the war in Vietnam, and I worked my way onto the steps of the Pentagon, and I have been doing this my whole life. My whole life. Started at 15. So we can do this.
Yeah, beautiful. There's so many. Yeah, you'll be telling us about that. That'd be great. That's wonderful. Thank you.
I just wonder how. This is actually just my second time that I'm here. Does a guest speaker have 10 minutes or 5 minutes?
Well, in your case, it's going to be real close to 5 because there will be 4 speakers.
Okay,
so,
thank you.
It depends on how many speakers that we have. We're also having Haim Obayan in motion coach. We'll have the Carol Witt that we all know and love in YEA. Lisa Lundy, who is going to tell us about the emotion quotient and how emotions control what we do in our lives, and Brenda. So we, at this point, as far as I know, I haven't checked my emails lately, but we have scheduled to have 4 of them, and it should be very inspiring. And of course, Mr. Trent would have all kinds of fits if I didn't at least introduce him, and he gives about 1 minute, he's getting better at this, gives about 1 minute introduction to Spirit of the Game.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda. Once he unmutes himself.
Sorry, Jackie, you introduced myself 30 seconds before the background noise got home.
Oh, he's home from school.
Yeah, so I had to plug in the headset real quick. So yeah, thanks for the introduction, and thanks again for hosting, and for our speakers, and for the audience, everybody coming. I had put in the chat a while back, so I'll just kind of refresh that about our Friday Wellness Series. So we have almost gotten all of the teams started, but we are doing every Friday, usually starting at 1700 GMT, sometimes an hour earlier, sometimes an hour later, but that is the default start time. And the one on this Friday is a goal-setting workshop that does start at 1700 GMT here in this same Zoom room. There is a posting party for 40 minutes before that, where you can come and promote the event and to get some likes and comments on your own social media profile. Jackie can tell you more about the benefits of posting parties, being a resident LinkedIn expert. And then on the 24th of January will be our youth wellness group, and on the 31st of January will be our climate and sustainability wellness group, and then we get into our regular monthly schedule, where the first Friday of every month is our women's wellness, and the second Friday is our business wellness, the third Friday then youth, and the fourth Friday climate and sustainability. So again, save this Zoom room because every Friday we are here talking about a different aspect of wellness with a different target audience. But just because you're not young doesn't mean that you're not welcome at the youth one, and just because you're not a woman doesn't mean you're not welcome at the women's one, and just because you don't have a business doesn't mean you're not welcome at the business one. And if you're not interested in climate and sustainability, you're not welcome at the climate and sustainability one. So that's what's going on, and as always, generally speaking, if you show up a few minutes early, we're happy to tell you about Spirit of the Game and what else that we're doing in that particular division. And if you stay around after the event, we usually host a Q&A session as well. Our Impactful Women's Network is up to some very exciting things. Same thing with each of our other divisions. Global challenges, dedicated social media platforms that cut out all of the noise, Impact Coaching Coalition, Sustainability Coaching Coalition, and a Wellness Coaching Coalition, and a whole lot more. I could probably take up the next hour giving everybody all of the exciting initiatives going on across Spirit of the Game throughout 2025. And at the end of that hour, Jackie would probably remind me of half of the things that I didn't even mention. So...
Thank you, Trent. It's been so delightful to work with you, and we have so much to do together. And I thank all those people that some did not get announced that were here. I appreciate you being here and to realize the power of collaboration. And that's just what this is all about, is to be able to have you actually commit to work with someone in a team. You have all the information in the chat. You have a way to get through to all of us with a WhatsApp communication. I've given you everything I can think of, a log to log in who you're going to work with to make sure that challenge works. So please save the chat, join us, and by the way, the first time I put all of that up, I said the 24th. No, for Michael's thing, it's next Tuesday, not the 24th. It's next Tuesday, the 21st. So be sure that you come on the 21st, an hour before we meet, to learn more about peace building. And I encourage you all to have a good what's left of the rest of the week. What can I encourage you with? My usual is be open to wonder rather than closed by belief. Thank you, Gary Spence.
Jackie,
and have a wonderful evening.
Before you go,
Kenny's,
what do you want
yes.
me to do with this recording? I'm going to need to edit it. I can probably do that by the end of the day. What do you want me to do with it?
You don't have to edit. Just send it to me. You can send it to me. If
All
you
right.
want to do a YouTube of it and send it to me, that's cool too. Because
All
I'll
right.
have to do that eventually.
Okay.
That'd be great.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you all, and let us bring and build peace in our own way as far as we possibly can. Make it a great
Bye,
day.
everyone.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.